Chapter X: The Fall of the Mountain and the Shadow of the Syndicate. The mountain pass was a graveyard of broken armor, shattered shields, and exhausted bodies. Both armies lay scattered across the gorge, battered, bleeding, and barely conscious. The air hung heavy with the smell of ozone and damp earth. In the center of the shattered summit, only Alex Valle and John Choi remained upright, barely. Kneeling in the mud, gasping for air as the world spun wildly around them, the two kings stared at one another. Their moss-infused energy flickered like dying embers. Every muscle burned, every nerve shrieked for release. Valle's fingers tightened into a white-knuckled grip. Drawing upon the very last reserves of his soul, forcing his broken body to obey, he slowly pushed himself up to his feet. With his chest heaving and his voice cracking through the bloodied air, Valle let out a primal, earth-shaking roar. "This is for SoCal." Valle unclipped his heavy blade, letting it drop to the earth. As the steel struck the ground, a massive electrical charge surged from his boots, rippling across the stone. The earth rumbled beneath them, shaking the entire mountain pass. In agonizing slow motion, Valle drew his right arm back. His fist ignited with the concentrated, blinding voltage of his golden moss core. FWOSH. He drove a humongous, thunder-charged sonic boom punch straight across John Choi's chin. Crack! The impact echoed like thunder through the canyon. Choi's head snapped back, his eyes rolling upward, and the legendary NorCal general collapsed heavily into the mud, knocked out cold for the remainder of the battle. Valle stood over him for a fraction of a second before his own knees buckled, sending him crashing down to one knee. The Weary Alliance. Across the ridge, the battered NorCal soldiers watched in horror as their king fell. Gasping for air, holding their fractured ribs and bruised limbs, they were in too much agony to move, desperate for healing. Down in the gorge, the SoCal forces were in no better shape. Bleeding and battered, struggling to find the strength to stand, a few loyal SoCal brawlers dragged themselves through the mud toward their fallen leader. "Get him up! Get the king!" someone shouted. Reaching Valle just as he slipped toward unconsciousness, they hoisted his heavy frame up, carrying him back toward a cybernetic steed rigged with a support pulley at the rear of the formation so he could finally rest. The arrival of the Syndicate. Just as both armies slumped back into silence, waiting for the heavy fog of exhaustion to clear, a cold, echoing sound cut through the canyon. Clack, clack, clack. From the shadows of the high ridge, a slow, mocking round of applause broke the quiet. NorCal and SoCal fighters alike turned their heavy, weary eyes toward the entrance of the pass. Out of the darkness stepped the East Coast Syndicate. Leading the pack was Triforce, a smug, untouchable grin plastered across his face as he walked forward, waving a hand dismissively at the wreckage of the two California armies. "Petty mortals," Triforce laughed, his voice ringing loud and clear across the valley. "Look at you. You're literally from the exact same state, yet you act like you're fighting a civil war from different planets. You tore each other apart over street corners and turf." Triforce stepped closer to the base of the summit, flanked by Sanford Kelly, Yipes, Chris Matrix, Mike Infinite, and Executioner. "While you two squabbled over sandbox rules," Triforce sneered, "we crossed the map just to vanquish the whole lot of you and take the throne for ourselves." A heavy, terrifying chill washed over the battlefield. Slowly, stepping out from the center of the East Coast ranks, a figure pulled down the dark hood of his jacket. Gasps echoed through the battered ranks of both NorCal and SoCal. "It's Wong," someone whispered in disbelief. Justin Wong stepped into the light, his eyes locked onto the exhausted armies, radiating the divine, untouchable aura of the comeback paradox. The god of the East Coast had arrived to claim the crown from two fallen kings.